plugged, untethered, sometimes unhinged, right here on the Midas Touch Network. Free subscribe. I said free. Get them to 3 million free subscribers before the November election. It can't be more important. There's nothing more important right now to me than helping to grow and build this network. I've been here since day one. My employee badge number is 4. Okay. And it matters to me, as does my constitutional democracy. And I don't want it to have a going out of business sale on the July 4th weekend. Buy mattresses, buy linens, buy whatever at your local, Amazon Plus Days or whatever it is. I don't want the nation to go out of business. And I'm doing my part with your help to making sure that doesn't happen. Follow me, Michael Popak, Wednesdays and Saturdays at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on this YouTube channel. We do a podcast we call Legal AF. For those that didn't know why we call it that, now you know. And if you don't, Wednesdays, Saturdays at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, and then on audio podcast platforms of your choice. And then I do hot takes like this, I don't know, about every half an hour on the Midas Touch Network. So if you like what I'm doing, give me a comment right here. Thumbs up right here. Open a dialogue with me right here. So until my next hot take, until my next Legal AF, this is Michael Popak. Heary, heary, Legal AF Law Breakdown is now in session. Go beyond the headlines and get a deep dive into the important legal concepts you need to know, and we discuss every day on Legal AF. Exclusive content you won't find anywhere else, all for the price of a couple of cups of coffee. Join us at patreon.com/legalaf. That's patreon.com/legalaf.
So, more audio tapes have leaked of Donald Trump with the co-editor-in-chief of Variety, Ramin Sotoudeh. In the new audio, Donald Trump brags that all that matters with the media and how easy it is to manipulate the media and news networks like CNN is just get good ratings and they'll do whatever the heck you want to do. It's a really disturbing audio, but look, I know you and I are sick and tired of Donald Trump's voice, so before playing you the leaked audio, what I want to show you though are the metrics and the data that actually matters. The ratings that we should be focused on here in the United States of America. First, let's take a look at some of the real ratings that matter, like this. Remember when Donald Trump said that under President Biden the stock market would crash? Take a look at this. The stock market is nearly double under President Biden than Donald Trump. This is objective data we're looking at, but we shouldn't base our economy on the stock market, although the corporate media, every time the stock market would go up under Donald Trump, they'd make that like a front page story before COVID. How about this though? The rate of job growth has been 40 times higher under President Biden than it was under the last 3 Republican presidents. 40 times higher. And we can look at objective criteria like this. Let's look at the ratings that actually should matter to me, you, and our fellow Americans and the world. Let's take a look at this job growth, chat. You see the job growth under President Biden. You see the job decline under Donald Trump. More Biden jobs boom outpacing Trump significantly. Let's talk about wages and the wage growth tracker, significantly higher under President Biden. Let's talk about production of crude oil. The United States produces now more crude oil under President Biden than any country ever in the history of the world, while President Biden is still focused on leading the world on climate change initiatives. Oil, gas, and renewable energy production are now at all-time highs under President Biden. These are the ratings that should matter. America is more energy independent than ever. Remember when Donald Trump and corporate media pushed the narratives that Biden's going to destroy the oil industry? We hit a new all-time high on oil production. How about President Biden's CHIPS Act, which has revitalized the semiconductor industry here in the United States, creating many new jobs? Well, the CHIPS Act is attracting an insane amount of investment The U.S. is now on pace to add more investment in electronics manufacturing construction this year alone as it did in total from 1996 until the passage of the CHIPS Act. Just think about that this year alone outpacing 96 to 2006 to 2016. I mean, we're talking 30 plus years. How about this manufacturing boom under President Biden? Total construction spending in U.S. manufacturing at an all-time high. How about crime? At an all-time low. Significant reductions in crime when crime was at its highest, objectively, when Donald Trump was in office. How about household wealth? Let's take a look at another chart. Average household wealth for those under 40 in the U.S. is up 49% from its pre-pandemic level. It's what's being referred to as Young America's wealth boom. How about this next chart? Primary takeaway from claims data through the first 3 months of 2024 translates to the best jobs market in the past half century, with wages now outpacing inflation. How about what JP Morgan said recently? That the U.S. has achieved U.S. energy independence for the first time in 40 years, while Europe and China compete for global energy resources. Take a look at this chart right here. How about this data? How about this chart? Data suggests that the American economy may be on the verge of a productivity renaissance, the type of productivity that the U.S. economy has not experienced since the period between 1995 and 2004. How about we look at additional economic growth? By way of a wide margin, the U.S. has the highest cumulative real economic growth of any G7 country post-COVID. Want to talk about more ratings? Ratings that should actually matter to the American people, we the people? Investment in American manufacturing facilities contributed more to our economy's growth than it has in 40 years under President Biden. And as I said, violent crime went up under Trump and down significantly under President Biden. So those are the ratings that should matter. But here's what Donald Trump says in the leaked audio as part of his interview with Ramin Sotoudeh, who is writing a book on Donald Trump. He says, you could be as nasty and despicable as you want, just help the media get ratings, viewers, and that's all they're going to care about. Listen to what he had to say here.
So, if I went back to NBC right now to do something, they would do anything I wanted to do. Show business, I'm talking about. Doing a show, anything I wanted to do right now, 100%. Because one thing I know about that business, and I learned that business better than anybody else can run a business in a short period of time. It's all about one thing, ratings. If you have ratings, you can be the meanest, most horrible human being in the world. There's only one thing that matters, ratings. You can be nice or you can be mean. You can be evil, you can be horrible, you can be crude or elegant. There's only one thing that matters, and that's ratings. If you don't have ratings, it doesn't matter.
Lumen is the world's first handheld metabolic coach. It's a device that measures your metabolism through your breath. And on the app, it lets you know if you're burning fat or carbs and gives you tailored guidance to improve your nutrition, workout, sleep, and even stress management. That's why I love it. All you have to do is you breathe into your Lumen first thing in the morning, and you'll know what's going on in your metabolism, whether you're burning mostly fats or carbs. Then Lumen gives you a personalized nutrition plan for that day based on your measurements. You can also breathe into it before and after workouts and meals, so you know exactly what's going on in your body in real time. And Lumen will give you tips to keep you on top of your health game. Your metabolism is your body's engine. It's how your body turns the food you eat into fuel that keeps you going. Because your metabolism is at the center of everything your body does, optimal metabolic health translates to a bunch of benefits, including easier weight management, improved energy levels, better fitness results, better sleep, etc. Lumen gives you recommendations to improve your metabolic health. It can also track your cycle as well as the onset of menopause and adjust your recommendations to keep your metabolism healthy through hormonal shifts, so you can keep up your energy and stave off cravings. Look, I love Lumen, I know you will too. So if you want to take the next step in improving your health, go to Lumen,
lumen.me/Midas to get 15% off your Lumen. That is lumen.me/Midas for 15% off your purchase. One more time, go to lumen.me/Midas, lumen.me/Midas, and get 15% off your purchase. Thank you, Lumen, for sponsoring this episode.
And then in more audio captured by Ramin Sotoudeh, here Donald Trump talks about how he says he's killing Justice Engoron, giving Justice Engoron bad publicity in the press by showing photographs of Justice Engoron with his shirt off. That's what Donald Trump's bragged about. So he's got a bad judge in Engoron, but he's got photos of Justice Engoron with his shirt off at the gym. Here, play this clip.
And in the middle of the conversation, Donald Trump received a phone call where he asked for a directed verdict and then tried to offer his own analysis of what was happening in New York while he was in Florida.
Okay, let's listen.
So they just finished up the trial. We won everything. Well, the judge just doesn't want to let it go. He's crazy. I don't know if you're liberal or not, but this guy is a radical left
Yeah, he's
militant.
very liberal, and he's not a supporter of yours.
He's a political hack.
Yeah.
He's a real hack. When you look at him, he should have never had the case in the first place. He got it. A very dangerous system. You know what I mean? It's like very dangerous. The good news is we're killing him. He's getting horrible publicity.
Yeah, I saw that.
Horrible. This thing with his weightlifting and shit, he's crazy. He's a lunatic. And he doesn't want to let it go.
So that's what Trump is talking about over and over again. Ratings, ratings, ratings. And you take a look at what he posts all the time. They could get this is what he says about Jimmy Kimmel. They could get a far more talented person who would also get better ratings for 5% of what they're paying this loser. This is what he says about Bill Maher. Bill Maher is the worst. He never got it and never will. Bad ratings, a big foul on CNN shot, major case of Trump derangement syndrome, not worth the shot. Here's what he says about Fox. Rumors are flying high that idiot rhino Paul Ryan, by the way, who was the Republican Speaker of the House, hurt his credibility. Fox is going in the wrong direction. Ratings are headed down, and Murdoch just threw certain very good people who were correct under the bus. This is what Trump says about Jimmy Fallon. Can anyone imagine being critiqued by ratings star Jimmy Fallon, the bumbling, stumbling hostess that single-handedly reduced The Tonight Show to ashes? It's all ratings that he's talking about, but not the ratings that should matter to we the American people. Why should we be in some bizarro cosplay fascist reality show? Why is the media and MAGA trying to put us in that world? I just want to protect our families. I want us to go about living our lives in normalcy. Remember when Donald Trump said the following about ratings during COVID? He bragged about the ratings that he was getting on those deranged press conferences during COVID, while so many Americans were dying. Trump mishandled it, said like a miracle, it's all going to go right. He bragged about his press briefing ratings and stopped the scientists from doing their work. He talked about injecting bleach into your arm. This is what he talked about. Play this clip.
See you tomorrow. Is that okay? Don't say that I cut it short. He'll say that's right. It could be almost tomorrow. But you know what? In the meantime, I'm sure people are enjoying it. Now I will say this. It's an incredibly dark topic, an incredibly horrible, and it's incredibly interesting. That's why everybody is, they're going crazy. They can't get enough of it. They want to be.
And remember when Trump gave that deranged town hall before CNN? And remember what he said? He was going to give them a Trump ratings boost. And this is when Caitlin Collins platformed him and he mocked his sexual assault victim. And they filled the crowd with MAGA people who were like laughing as he mocked his sexual assault victim and talked about pardoning January 6th insurrectionists. This is very revealing about what CNN has become. Here, play this clip.
I'll be doing CNN tonight, live from the great state of New Hampshire, because CNN is rightfully desperate to get those fantastic Trump ratings back. They were ratings like none other, and they want them back. They made me a deal I couldn't refuse. Could be the beginning of a new and vibrant CNN with no more fake news, or it could be A total disaster for all, including me. Let's see what happens tonight at 8 o'clock.
And so I leave you that to think about. Which ratings matter to you? The ratings that actually impact your life, or being an extra, an expendable extra in Trump's cosplay, fascist, dystopian, American carnage? Decide which one you want, because it's a life or death decision. Hit subscribe. We're on our way to 3 million subscribers thanks to your support. Let's get to 3 million this month.
Love this video? Make sure you stay up to date on the latest breaking news and all things Midas by signing up to the Midas Touch newsletter at MidasTouch.com/newsletter.
I'm fine with all the other lists. As long as I'm not on the Epstein list, we're good, right? Speaking of which, how is it that my father can be convicted of 34 crimes, but no one on Epstein's list has even been brought to light? I'm trying to figure out how that's possible, right, bud?
Well, that didn't age very well. I mean, your dad is all over the list. There's probably almost no one in the Epstein files named as much as your dad. But I understand that corporate media wants to ignore this. I understand that your own cult followers don't look at facts, but I'm just not going to stop reporting that. We're on the Midas Touch Network. We're going to do the work that the media should be doing, and let's take a look at what was released this week as part of the new document dump as a result of Circuit Judge Luis Delgado in Florida releasing criminal grand jury files relating to the Epstein case. One of the things that was released was Epstein's important message log. And in between messages of Epstein coordinating massages with teenage girls were messages with Donald Trump at this time period. As one account says, prior to marrying Melania in 2005, Trump was calling Jeffrey Epstein in 2004 on the regular. We see Donald's phone message in the West Palm Beach indictment of Epstein released this week. His messages are in between girls calling to confirm massage appointments, and messages from disgraced modeling agent Jean-Luc Brunel, who died by suicide. And you just take a look, Trump's name over and over again in message logs to Epstein. We know that Donald Trump partied with Epstein. They lived near each other. They hung out together all of the time. Donald Trump said about Epstein that he thought Epstein was a good guy who likes women on the younger side. Here's a direct quote from Donald Trump in 2002. Trump told New York Magazine that he thought Epstein was a terrific guy. I've known Jeff for 15 years, terrific guy. He's a lot of fun to be with. It's even said that he likes beautiful women as much as I do, and many of them are on the younger side. Here's Trump bringing his kids to hang out with Epstein. More photos of Trump and Epstein. More photos of Donald Trump, Melania Epstein, and Ghislaine Maxwell. It was reported, of course, in New York Magazine the following: remembering the time Jeffrey Epstein rode on Donald Trump's plane. They did board with a young woman of indeterminate age. I wouldn't be able to tell if she was 15 or 20. She was quite dressed up and quite made up, so it was hard to tell. Epstein on Trump's plane. Trump was on Epstein's flight log in addition to being all over Epstein's message log. Trump was on Epstein's flight log at least 7 times. Here are the receipts right here, straight from court records in the Ghislaine Maxwell case. You go to the depositions of women trafficked by Epstein. Trump's name is mentioned there. Jeffrey said, great, we'll call up Trump and we'll go to, I don't recall the name of the casino, but we will go to the casino. In addition, Donald Trump, one of the women who was trafficked, one of the more well-known women trafficked by Epstein, Virginia Giuffre, she worked at Mar-a-Lago, and Ghislaine Maxwell met her while she was working at Mar-a-Lago and then introduced her to Epstein. That's how Epstein met her and eventually trafficked her. Later in her childhood, she was in and out of foster care. Virginia Giuffre, by the age of 14, she was living on the streets, and then her dad was working at Mar-a-Lago. So then she got a job there, and that's where Ghislaine Maxwell found her. I mean, there's also these stories right here. Go back to like 1991, where Donald Trump hosted the Look of the Year competition and was having these parties on yachts. Here's how it was described by The Guardian. On September 1991, a large private yacht cruised towards the Statue of Liberty. It was a clear, breezy evening, and from the upper deck of the Spirit of New York, a golden sunset could be seen glinting off the Manhattan skyline. Downstairs, a party was in flow. Scores of teenage girls in evening dresses and miniskirts, some as young as 14, danced under the disco lights. It could have been a high school prom. Not a high school prom. These were little girls, let me be very clear. Were it not for the crowd of older men surrounding them. As the evening wore on, some of the men, many old enough to be the girls' fathers or even grandfathers, joined them on the dance floor, pressing themselves against the girls. One balding man in a suit wrapped his arms around two young models, little girls, leered into the camera that was documented the evening and said, "Can you get some beautiful women around me, please?" The party aboard the Spirit of New York was one of several events that Donald Trump, then 45, attended with a group of 58 aspiring young models that September. They were competing in Elite's Look of the Year competition. And when they say aspiring models, we're talking about little girls. Here were the girls who were in that competition that Donald Trump led. You could see right here, this is the 1991 Look of the Year finale, and these were the types of girls who were on that yacht that Trump was on when he was 45 years old at that time period. I mean, pretty sick stuff. So going back now, I mean, just think about it. In this week, we learned that Trump's name is all over the message log. We knew it was all over the flight log. We know about these connections. Have you heard a peep anywhere other than on the Midas Touch Network about this? Have you heard anybody else talking about it? And then you have Don Jr. go up there, and this was like a few weeks back, and just kind of mock, we wish who would be on the list. Corporate, you don't think this is important to report on? Like, what is it that you do? What is it that you think your job is? Let me play you the full context of what Don Jr. said so you can hear it for yourself. Now, play the clip.
We're never going to surrender. It's not our style, man. We don't. At this point, we got to fight, because congratulations. If you're in this room right now, you're probably on the FBI list. You're in with me, my father, my family, so you're in with good company. I am on every list except the Epstein list. We haven't heard anything about that one in a while. I'm fine with all the other lists. As long as I'm not on the Epstein list, we're good, right? Speaking of which, how is it that my father can be convicted of 34 crimes, but no one on Epstein's list has even been brought to light? I'm trying to figure out how that's possible, right, bud? It's almost like they're trying to protect those pedophiles for some reason. I can't imagine why, right? We're not allowed to say they're groomers, but when they act a lot like groomers, sort of tells you everything you need to know, right?
And Charlie Kirk, who runs the organization where Don Jr. was talking about, that's the organization that holds the banners, White Boy Summer, or White Boy Summer. It's the Republican Party today. Media won't report about that either. Don Jr. goes, "You know who's not on the Epstein list? My father. Because if he was, it would have been leaked in about a half a second. That's a fact. It doesn't have to be leaked. It's just out there. But the corporate media is too cowardly to talk about it. They don't want to broach these subjects. Here's Donald Trump talking about his daughter, Ivanka. Play the clip.
This is a very nice movie. I've said that if Ivanka weren't my daughter, perhaps I'd be dating her. You know?
Ivanka, what's the favorite thing you have in common with your father?
Either real estate or golf.
Donald, your daughter?
Well, I was going to say sex, but I can't relate that.
If I weren't happily married, and, you know, her father.
My daughter, Ivanka.
Yeah.
She's 6 feet tall. She's got the best body.
Your daughter.
She's beautiful.
A pink can I say this? A piece of ass. She looks more voluptuous than ever.
She's actually always been very voluptuous.
It's
She's tall.
unbelievable.
She's almost 6 feet.
You going up the escalator? I'm going to be dating her in 10 years. Can you believe it?
I mean, and by the way, just in terms of how these individuals have just like shattered civilized discourse. I mean, just take a look. This is Trump's lawyer right here at the airport, Alina Habba, wearing the Trump logo, the new Trump logo hat, which is Trump with his middle finger in the air.
Good morning from Newark Airport.
That's the new logo. Trump with his middle finger. We wear that as a hat. It's what we have to explain to our children and our grandchildren and family members about the state of the Republican Party or just the state of our country right now because of this MAGA madness, because of this mess. And by the way, this shouldn't be a political thing. What I played for you on the video of what Trump was saying about his daughter, that's a Republican view. Now, what are we talking about? That should be not good no matter what political party you're in. Just saying it out loud. All the stuff is out there. It's right in our faces. Can we not handle it because it's in our faces? Does that make it so the media is unable to report on things that we could just see right there because it's out there right in the open? They're too cowardly to report on it. Here's this out in the open. Here's what Donald Trump, remember some of these photos about Trump in the beauty pageants? This is what Trump said, how he would inspect the women naked.
Well, you could also say, as the owner of the pageant, it's your obligation to do that.
So you have done that.
Well, I'll tell you the funniest is that I'll go backstage before a show, and everyone's getting dressed and ready and everything else, and no men are anywhere. And I'm allowed to go in because I'm the owner of the pageant, and therefore I'm inspecting it. I'm inspecting. I want to make sure that
like
everything is good.
You're there.
Yeah, the dress. Is everyone okay? They're standing there with no clothes. Is everybody okay? And you see these incredible-looking women, and so I sort of get away with things.
Or here's a clip right here of Donald Trump talking about Lindsay Lohan when she was like 17 or 18 years old, and saying how because she may have had mental health issues, that made him want to sleep with her more. Let's have the clip.
What do you think of Lindsay Lohan now? I think she's hot. There's something there, right? Yes. But you have to like freckles. I've seen a close-up of her chest. Yes. And a lot of freckles. Are you into freckles? If the father's a wreck, like the way he is, right? You imagine the sex with this troubled? Yeah, you're probably right. She's probably deeply troubled and therefore great in bed. Back in the day. How come the deeply troubled women? Yes. Deeply troubled. Right. They're always the best in bed. If for some reason what I said is true, I mean, they're just unbelievable. I can tell from the... You don't want to be with them for the long term, but for the short term, there's nothing.
And again, this is the leader of the Republican Party. This is not someone I would want around any of my family members. Let's just call it what it is. It's just disgusting. Disgusting stuff. But on the other hand, President Biden had a bad debate and stuttered, even though he lowered prescription drug prices, implemented the PACT Act, the CHIPS Act, Inflation Reduction Act, Infrastructure Act. Tell me what you think. Now's the time. We gotta speak out for our democracy. We gotta call this out. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 3 million together. Thanks for watching.
Love this video? Make sure you stay up to date on the latest breaking news and all things Midas by signing up to the Midas Touch newsletter at MidasTouch.com/newsletter.
This is Michael Popok, Legal AF. Even though Donald Trump and future presidents now enjoy a certain measure of immunity, absolute immunity for core presidential duties, some sort of presumption of immunity for official conduct, does that mean that they can't be impeached and removed even upon being elected and sworn in for high crimes and misdemeanors? And the answer to that question, I posit, is no. They can and should be impeached and removed even if they have been given immunity for certain statutory crimes, because historically, going back to the 1370s, as adopted by the framers of the U.S. Constitution, the use of the term high crimes and misdemeanors does not refer to statutory crimes, indictable crimes on the books. It goes much broader than that. As Supreme Court justices in the past have noted, it has a very political overtone to it. Abuse of power is the best way to summarize the types of things that high crimes and misdemeanors is supposed to capture. And what have we watched but an abuse of power by Donald Trump in his attempt to cling to power and ever since. And even though it's in the past, it can still form the basis of an impeachable, removable offense upon if Donald Trump were to be elected. Listen, I'm trying to establish for you the ways our founding fathers, through checks and balances, have built in checks on a Leviathan president. A president who is out of control, even now being given technical statutory criminal immunity by the Supreme Court. They did not address and have not addressed the issue that I'm raising here, which is if he were to get elected, if the court of public opinion doesn't reject Donald Trump for some reason, even though he's a felon, even though he's adjudged a sex offender, even though he's committed crimes and fraud, littered his entire career with it, if for some reason that is not enough to motivate people to vote against him and he gets elected, but the Democrats come into power in the House and the Senate, could they then turn around and impeach him and deny him his seat? And the answer to that, I believe, is yes. It has to do with the term high